thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life.
If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life.
If you ask me what am I am beauty, I am joy. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life.
I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life.
Oh yeah,
I have the power to change my life.
Oh yes,
I have the power to change my life.
Thank you, good morning, and welcome to Unity. Please stand as you are able and join us in singing "This House is Built on Love." Welcome to this sacred space.
Welcome to this sacred space.
See the joy on every face.
See the joy on every face. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love.
Leave your burdens at the door.
Leave your burdens at the door.
You're not a stranger anymore.
You're not a stranger anymore. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love.
Now it's the time to turn to someone standing next to you and say good morning. Say it loud, say it clear.
Say it loud and say it clear.
We're so happy that you're here.
We're so happy that you're here. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love.
This house,
This house,
this house,
this house, this house is built on love.
This house,
This house,
this house,
oh, this house, this house is built on love.
This house,
This house,
this house,
this house, this house is built on love.
This house,
this house,
this house,
this house, this house is built on love.
Oh, we love our music ministry team, led by our wonderful Sue Riley. And we're glad to see Arius here in training to become assistant music director. In this glorious high summer, we are grateful to have such a beautiful place to meet. Meantime, the parking lot at the home campus is ready. The school's contractor has now properly submitted plans for the permit to be approved, but our part is in place for approval. We have learned to meet change with patience and positivity, which has strengthened our faith and resilience. Truly, both synagogues, CBS and TBI, have made us very much at home all these months. CBS resumes its Sunday morning youth ministry in August, so we must be resettled by then. Rabbi LaBelle of TBI has invited all of us to attend his last Shabbat service at TBI at 7 p.m. on June 14th. Our senior minister will take part with other interfaith clergy. Please come if you can attend to honor Rabbi LaBelle and the community at TBI. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that today is my brother Russ's 64th birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Russ. Happy birthday to you.
Here's the funny part. I was told, don't have them sing. He won't like it.
Oh, you didn't tell me, sorry. I finally learned that song. I want to take every opportunity I can.
In the words of our friends at both synagogues, he is truly a mensch, a good guy. When our tech team feels it's workable, we will be able to move our services back to our former sanctuary while our new church home is being built. We're so grateful for our teammates and spiritual family for staying with us through this journey of changes. Our Wings group and Bible classes resume after summer break. But for now, please join Letty on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for a half hour of peaceful meditation and for the open table talk on Zoom at noon on Thursdays. The links are on our weekly e-news, which you can sign up for at the welcome table. Prayer requests are kept in confidence and loving prayer for at least 30 days by our ministry team. Now, let's speak our opening statements together. There is only one presence and one power, everywhere and always, God, the good omnipotent, and God is love. In our unity of purpose, we are guided by infinite wisdom, renewed by abundant life, and prospered by divine love. Today's daily word lesson is from 1989, the centennial year of the Unity Movement. I live in a changing world. Change is constant. Facts, figures, and circumstances can change from one moment to another. The blessing is that through God's care and provision for us, we have everything we need to meet any change that comes our way. Going through a change may not always be a comfortable experience. We may on occasion think or talk ourselves into feeling fearful about changes that are occurring. To become more comfortable with change, we remind ourselves that God has good in store for us. Changes happen all around us, for the earth and all it contains is in a state of constant growth and change. Perhaps changes are coming to those we know. A loved one moves away, a friend begins a new job, or a neighborhood couple is blessed with a baby. New acquaintances enter our lives and bring about change. As changes occur, we remain poised, peaceful, and trusting. God is with us through every change. And from Ecclesiastes, for everything there is a season. And now, Reverend Mary McKenzie, UCC's Minister of Pastoral Services, will lead our Lord's Prayer.
Good morning. When we think of heaven, we mean the awareness of the presence of God, mighty in the midst of us, the one constant through all of the changes of life. Our way-shower taught us to pray in this way together. Our Father in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us as we forgive others. Leave us not in doubt, but deliver us from error. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So now let's enjoy just a time of meditation together.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my arms. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Let's become quiet in prayer, letting go of all anxious thoughts as relaxation clears our thoughts and soothes our body temple. With each breath, we feel more at peace and centered in this sacred atmosphere. We know that the countenance of the Most High shines upon us with the ethereal residence of pure love. The sunshine of God's love refreshes and makes us strong and shines through the smiles of others around us. Here in the presence, we feel harmony and ease in the body, and clarity and calm in our thoughts. Here in the quiet, we realize that the words we hold in mind, the words we dwell upon and speak throughout our day, are truly shaping our lives. Every thought is a prayer, a silent word with the power to transform every aspect of our lives. Let the words we hold in mind and speak all through the day and evening be thoughts of power and praise, that bring about positive outcomes in our experience. Through the consciousness we are building by holding to these words, we find the resilience meet changes of every kind in our lives. We are unafraid of change, for we know that only good can come to us. These creative ideas change our lives in wonderful ways, bringing us consciously into God's abundant and limitless blessings. Let us dwell on these transformer ideas as we pray in the silence. We now affirm, I fearlessly embrace change. I speak positive words that change my life in positive ways. We give thanks for answered prayer. The face of God smiles upon my face and my life. And so it is, and so we let it be. God is, I am. Amen.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are my part of me. You are the face of God.
That was so beautiful and good to hear you play, Arias. Very lovely. We're grateful. We were searching for the right person to help assist us, and we turned to Joe Braccio, who was the teacher of Levi Hammock at SPC, our youngest, and also Sue's brother and nephew. And Joe Braccio said, I have a wonderful student, and I believe in him. And this is Arios. We're glad that he's here. As we begin this morning, we are especially blessed that we are together. And we know that many folks are watching by Zoom too, live stream, Facebook, whatever magic. We're glad you're here too. And we feel your presence and the warmth of your love. And we're also very grateful to have with us from South Carolina, the Gribbles, Bill and Judy. Here they are. What a blessing. They are forever part of this spiritual family. We were honored to be with them as they celebrated the life of Bill's dad, William Gribble Sr., Papo, yesterday. And oh, what a wonderful experience, because there was so much love, So much love. And that is the feeling we want to share today as we consider our own prayer list. It's not a matter of feeling that when we hear the names, we feel fearful. No, when we hear the names, let's feel loving and confident and truly entrust every name into God's care. Amanda and Ryan, David and Joni, Donald, Lori Kelly, whom I prayed this week, Eddie, Tom, Russ, Nancy, Rocco, and Barbara, Patrice, and Brian Miller, who's been healing wonderfully, Bob and Dave. Dave Burton is always with us, he and Beth, Kim and Gay Jeffries, and Catherine and Henry Young, that's Tom Young's brother, Marianne McLean, mother of Mary Haviland, is doing very well. Jim and Lauren Radin, Tom, another Jim, and her daughter Eileen, and Babs, who just had surgery and is triumphant. Roberta and Roger, Shannon, and Eleanor Wilson, long time, and her dear ones. I wanted you to know that we have been honoring Nikki's mom, Marianne, and Nikki's mom loved music, and she has passed into a new dimension, and the music is always playing wherever she is. We're thinking of Mary Elliott and her dear daughter, Jenny. I've been in touch with the family this week, and as her son Danny texted me, he said there just aren't enough thank yous. They are both very grateful for your help during this time when Mary has gone up to Pensacola to assist the family in making adjustments as Jenny made peaceful and gentle transition. We think, oh, too young, yes. And that's when we must know that there is no ending, but always new beginnings. We see the resilience and the love in the family. Thank you for letting Mary make this journey and for your help so that she can do it. She is very grateful, and we are too. And so I also want to let you know I found a pretty green earring here in the sanctuary last week. If it belongs to you, then here it is. Or if you just see me wearing just one, you'll know. That's it. We are delighted to be in prayer with these folks and confident in knowing that changes are sometimes very challenging to make. But in the long run, they all bring blessings somehow. We have a responsive reading to introduce the feature song we're sharing. And as Elian told me when I got out of the car this morning, he said, well, are you feel like dancing? Because the music today is going to make you feel like dancing. And I thought, great, that's great. I love that about our music. Oops. So are you awake now? Yeah. I'm going to read the Bible parts, and then we'll make the responses together, and I'll help. This is from Ecclesiastes that Reverend Rob referred to. There is an appointed time for everything, and a time for every affair under the heavens, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. Here's our response. When everything changes, I can change anything. Turning the pages, everything's new. Now notice in Genesis that we read about Abram, who is later renamed Abraham, making changes by stages. Abram went as the Lord directed him. From there he moved on. Then Abram journeyed on by stages. Here's our response. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, it's everything changes, and I can change too. And here we're going to let St. Paul say a word. Behold, I tell you a mystery. We will all be changed. Here's our response. When everything changes, I can change anything.
When everything changes, I can change anything.
Turning the pages, everything's new.
Turning the pages, everything's new.
Now listen to this poetic and mystical process of changes for the children of Israel in the wilderness. Whenever the cloud rose from the tabernacle, the Israelites would set out on their journey. But if the cloud did not lift, they would not go forward. Only when it lifted did they go forward. The cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire in the cloud at night, in all the stages of their journey. Here's our response. If life's little stages are teaching me anything,
if life's little stages are teaching me anything,
it's everything changes, and I can change too.
it's everything changes, and I can change too.
Absolutely. And now open your heart to this wonderful music. And dance if you have to.
When everything changes, I can change anything. Turning the pages and everything's new. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, it's everything changes, I can change too. Used to be when life got crazy, I get to feeling low. But I found out I can't let that faze me. Honey, now I know. When everything changes, I can change anything. Turning the pages, everything's new. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, as everything changes, I can change too. Who expects the unexpected life sneaking up on you? And sometimes we all feel disconnected, but what you gonna do? When everything changes, I can change anything. Turning the pages, everything's new. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, as everything changes, I can change too. To say why it works this way. Well, it's kind of strange, but it's true. When everything changes, I can change anything. Turning the pages, and everything's new. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, as everything changes, I can change everything changes. I can change anything. Turning the pages, everything's new. If life's little stages are teaching me anything, as everything changes, I can change too. Yes, everything changes. I can change too. Oh, everything changes. I can change too.
Wow, choreography. It's just natural with the good music. I think music should move you. And sometimes when you're stuck on meeting a change, play a little music that you like. It'll often get you going. When I held the memorial service, a celebration of life for my own mother, I remembered that she used to love to sing, "There'll be a change in the weather." Billie Holiday, and later Julie London, and a lot of other people. And one day, my mom decided she wanted to change. She was tired of trying to get a permanent wave in her Native American hair. So she just combed it all wet and flat and took a string, tied it around her head, and cut off her hair. She looked a little like Mo in the Three Stooges. And Dad came home and he's like, what happened? She said, I can change anything. And that was her way. I think it's a sign of great strength when we can meet change. And I love the part of the song where it says, the unexpected. No one expects the unexpected. And of course, since I'm kind of a Monty Python fan, I thought about that, maybe you did too, where somebody says, because the wife is questioning them, well, I didn't expect a Spanish Inquisition, and all of a sudden in comes the Spanish Inquisition. Remember that one? Our main weapons are fear and surprise, and wait a minute, fear, surprise, and fearsome efficiency, and an almost fanatical devotion. Wait a minute, I better go out and come in again. Fear, surprise, a fearless efficiency, and a fanatical devotion. So the thing is, things will change even the way you understand yourself, even the way you understand things that you experienced. It can be startling. Now, wait a minute. It wasn't that everyone was against me. It was that something else had to happen. So the shell had to be broken for me to be reborn in some new way. St. Paul had said, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Well, so often I have said in this last 2 years, if we just had the building, if we just had the building, well, we had to wait. And it turns out that a lot of the foundation is invisible. It is in us. It is in us learning that there are steps to be taken, one step at a time. And they also begin with how we think about the church. Oh, it's convenient to have a lovely building. We're so grateful for this temple and for TBI too. The way we feel welcomed, it's been different. You're not used to seeing me for 40 years wearing a kippah, but I do because for me to be the main speaker on this bima, I wanted to show reverence. Nobody else has to do it. But I wanted to show that I too accept the idea that this represents a kind of covering over my thoughts to allow the freedom of God's thoughts to work, or something like that. And so I've gotten so used to it, I may just wear it for the rest of my life. I don't know. Changes, and you've seen different hair colors than you ever thought possible. That started with no hair at all. I like it that St. Paul said, we will all be changed. The interesting thing is that that's usually interpreted to mean we're all going to let go of this body temple. We're going to begin something wonderful and different, and we'll just accept that. But the founders of our movement didn't exactly. They were radical idealists. They believed that our thoughts shape our world. Like our gathering music today, I Am the Thinker, one of Sue's very best songs. We used it once in an interfaith service, and a couple of leaders of other communities came up and said, we'd like to use that song. And I had to say, well, just be aware. If you start saying, when everything changes, I can change. When you start saying, I am the thinker that thinks the thoughts that change the things that shape my life, you'll see what happens. And it will happen. It can be a dangerous thing to say. Now, what if I just resist change and refuse? There's that commercial that I love about the lady that's convinced she has to be the scarecrow during the day and is stuffing straw in her overalls and everything, goes out with, and goes, ah, and screams, and the crows fly away. And then you immediately think, what's happening when she's not out here? Well, the crows are feasting on the corn, and it's going to go on. Like my dear grandmother used to say, stop jumping up to dust things all the time. That dust will be there when you're not. Oh, thanks, Grandma. That's encouraging. But she had seen many changes in her life She voted in the first time that women were allowed to vote, and that was a big change. We want to see changes continue to happen. A strong person, a strong culture is one that can weather changes. I say that as though I've handled it, and no. I still look in the mirror and just for a moment, wait a minute, I was 18 about 5 minutes ago, and I don't really like it much when my husband says, we're not 20 anymore. Well, speak for yourself. I'm going to be 20. But we do change, and we all shall change, but not by dying, but by living. By saying yes to new possibilities. The Bible tells of how great leaders handle changes. And if you watch the patterns that come up in the Torah, the rulers, the leaders, the judges who resisted change always ended up having to meet it. And so it's not a bad idea to start your day with something like, thank you, God, for your next sweet surprise. Of course, we don't want people to have to go away. We don't want anybody to die. We want them to stay with us, keep on as always. But we don't know all the opportunities. We just don't know everything that's going on in the universe and what awaits them. When our son went to college, we took him down to University of Miami, and I thought everything was pretty good until I saw that he was staying and I was coming home. I didn't like that part. My little sister told me that when I married the first time, she was pretty happy she was the flower girl until she realized that I wasn't going to be sharing a room with her anymore. You see, change does mean other changes too. But the changes we've had by moving from our very comfortable sanctuary with its theater seating was to realize that our faith is not so different from the core of the faith of others. And that in this place and in TBI and in UU Church, all the places we've met, there are good things, good people, good ideas. And by being forced to open up our hearts and our experience to what other people were thinking about and going through and meeting, we've gotten to be better friends. Well, it doesn't always mean that you agree with everybody, and I'm sure a lot of people like unity, but hesitate to agree with us about everything. We're kind of radical. And they don't always like the idea that we say when something has happened that they don't like, well, what have you been thinking? And we don't like it when people say that to us. But thoughts become things, and things change. Maybe the best way, or at least an ideal way, is to remember the Serenity Prayer. It is pretty helpful about how to manage change. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. That's pretty powerful. The moment you say that, things change. In your attitude, in the way you do things, you stop wanting everybody else to change first. I've been around a while, and I've learned this, it doesn't work. We can really hope they will. We can try to make them change. They'll change when they're good and ready. But the meantime is, how do you change? How many times people have come to me or someone else in Unity and said, how do I get my son or daughter to change the way I want them to? And they don't like it very much when I say, if you figure that one out, let me know. But in the meantime, your job is changing you. Oh, I can't do that. I'm right, you see. And I get that. I know, I'm right too, so I feel with you. Being always right is such a drag because you spend a lot of time trying to convince others, unless you realize my decisions are right for me in this moment, and they may not be for everybody else. I don't know if you realized it, but the Serenity Prayer was written by a theologian. We all used to cringe a little when Del Deschamps, the dean of our seminary that we had going strong for about 10 years, had us to read Reinhold Niebuhr's work. Oh, you had to have a glass of water with you because it was dry as dust. But it was mighty good. And it turns out he wrote the essence of that Serenity Prayer in 1932 and 33. That's a while. It didn't become popular. It started to grow in church groups in the 30s and 40s. And then he used it in a sermon in 1943 at an evangelical church and appeared in another sermon in a book of prayers that he wrote, Prayers for the Armed Forces. When he first published it in 1951 in a magazine column, it got to be popular. By 1955, it was being called the Serenity Prayer and used at AA meetings and still used in our lives. God grant me the serenity. And why do we say that? Oh, we make our own serenity. Do we? Sometimes I think we have to get sort of worn down by all the things that happen till we finally say something that amounts to, I give up. I'll go with the change. I'll just go with the change. I knew a woman, a very wise and precious woman, who married a man who was wonderful. He was just as precious as she was. But she realized after they'd been together a year that she had to listen to him when he told her, sweetheart, I love you very much, but I'm gay. And she explained it like this. For months and months, and going on a year, I would always ask him what he wanted for breakfast. French toast, pancakes, fried eggs, scrambled eggs, poached eggs, eggs Benedict, until I finally realized he didn't like breakfast at all. Sometimes the changes we're trying to make in others are simply not in their toolbox. They've made other changes. And if we love them, we support them in that. Oh, yeah, it's hard not to have people change when you want them to. And I find that especially true with elected officials, don't you? Change. But I find that prayers that have that expression with them are really meant to say, God, I'm not begging you to heal me. I'm not begging you to heal my beloved. I'm not begging you to change anybody else. I'm open to you helping me change. Help me change. And wise psychologists tell us that what we ought to do is sit at a different side of the table than we're used to once in a while. Try unsalted butter if you like salted. Try your eggs a different way. Do something a little differently. Watch a different news channel. You may not agree, but you'll probably learn something. And it's good to experience change. It keeps you smart. It keeps you ready, because no one expects the Spanish Inquisition or any of those things that happen. A lot of things have happened that we didn't expect. We are gazing at a world at war. Are all wars unjust? Perhaps they all begin with injustice of some sort. And there is a place in the human soul where we know when something is not in sync. It is not as it ought to be. If there is injustice anywhere, there is not justice anywhere. If there is unfairness in any place, then there's not fairness any place. And no justice, no peace. Well, we already know where peace begins. I have given up trying to pray that Russia make peace and Hamas make peace. I would like it because peace is better. But I pray to understand, to be strong in doing what I believe and support those who do, and try to get to the place where when a change is imminent for me, I'm willing to make it. I once found that it was time to leave a beautiful place where I was ministering up in Bettendorf, Iowa. We called it Unity of Mount Carmel because it had been a Carmelite monastery, the Monastery of Two Angels. And when we were there leasing it for 5 years, realizing we probably couldn't extend, I fell in love with the place. I loved it so. I mean, with a deep love that now I can close my eyes and remember the dimensions of every room. And then if I think about it a little longer, I remember how long it took me to shovel the snow off that parking lot and wash all those floors. And then I asked myself, did you really want to stay forever? And I realized by grace, not by intellect, but somehow it dawned on me that I couldn't carry everything with me in moving. But I could keep the memory right here and never have to dust it. So I got ready to make the change, and I did. See, here's what happens if you don't make change. The universe, because the universe is geared to make you grow and expand and know more and feel more deeply and love more grandly, live more gently, and behold the mystery more often, then you'll have to change some to do that. And Jesus said, unless the seed falls and breaks open, it can't grow again. So you may have to surrender. All right, I didn't like it that a certain kind of pill, instead of coming in one pill that would have been hard for a horse to swallow, it comes in 3 pills. Now I have to take 3 pills. I didn't want to change. Why? Because I didn't want to change. And then I realized that, okay, I give up. And you know what? When you give up on something small, that isn't really a matter of life and death. It's a matter of you giving up some steadfast position, that you get smarter and you feel better. And then for some reason, I can't tell you why, I randomly think of music that most of you never heard of. But in case you ever hear this song, it might remind you of why you have to face changes. It was a song by Sonny Curtis. Don't know the name? No. Recorded by The Clash, The Crickets, and The Stray Cats. Let's see if you remember it at all. I'm acknowledging the author. That's why I can read the lyrics. I'm breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. We call ourselves a nation of laws. We don't always like the outcomes. We found out that laws can be changed and must be enforced, and not everyone agrees. Okay. But if you fight the law of the universe, who's going to break? The universe won't break. But you can waste a lot of time. I think the Spanish Inquisition was a terrible thing, by the way, in case you think about that. I'm not promoting it. I went to look on YouTube again at what Monty Python did about that, the Spanish Inquisition. It was so funny. And then they decided to claimed this woman who hadn't done anything guilty, and they said, put her on the rack, and the prop people didn't know what to do, so they put a dish rack on her and strapped it around, and it was very silly. And they said, all right, give it a turn. And the guy said, I can't. We tied it on really tight. I said, pretend. So sometimes if you can laugh about something, you can gain dominion over it. Even the Spanish Inquisition, terrible business. Slavery and Juneteenth that's coming up, and all the 1,000 Holocausts that humans have worked against one another. You can pretend they didn't happen. It might be better to take a look at it and decide how you are going to respond now. Butterworth, the great unity teacher, said, we live in a universe of law. There's no caprice, there's no injustice. All this is something that we experience when we're looking from the outside in. Once I asked in a class at USF, when I was in graduate school there, I asked, how do the Hasidim, greatly devoted, ultra-Orthodox Jewish people, how do they manage the Holocaust? And they said, to one who loves God completely, everything is an act of grace. I said, surely they wouldn't excuse the horrors. Oh no, but we're saying we will come through. We will come through. So when I spend a lot of time being annoyed with the contractor who seems to be dragging his feet and then submitted the wrong plans and all that stuff, then I remember, what have I learned from this? What has God taught me through this? I think I'm a little more conditioned to change than I was 4 years ago. I think if we knew what we would have to endure and be resilient through 10 years ago, we would have thought, I can't. And then we measure it out. Well, I could take this much change, but not that. And then we realize there's no luck. There's no miracle in the old ways we've used the words. There's only the law of mind action. And what I think about, I bring about. Oh, you say, thank you very much. That doesn't help me very much. Now I'm suffering and it's my fault. Well, that's only one way to look at it. The other way is you are ready now to make the breakthrough you weren't ready to make before. You're ready to let go of what you didn't think you could let go. And now you know you can. In the next hurricane, you'll come through that too. Someday we're going to figure out how to manage hurricanes, and we will. We'll manage all sorts of things. Our technology gets better all the time. I heard this joke 100 years ago, I bet, that there was an Amish man who brought his wife and son into the city for the very first time. They had never been away from the farm. They had never seen a department store or a skyscraper. And there they were in a department store. And the mother was looking around at things, and the father and son were standing in front of the elevator, and they didn't know what it was. And they saw a woman that looked about like me get on the elevator, and the doors closed. And then they saw a woman that looks like the beautiful ones in the midst of us, and she got out of the elevator. And the husband turned to his son and said, "Go get your mother." I never forgot that one. And I always go into elevators with a hopeful thought. In a way, it doesn't really matter what you're heading into. Maybe it'll be hard. Maybe it'll be the hardest thing you ever did. But you'll come through. There was a couple that I also read about, and they were working through a very difficult time in life. Loved ones ill. Issues in politics that were very upsetting and frightening to them. War, all these things, financial matters, all that was happening. And the husband had a prayer before they went to sleep, and in the middle of the night he got up and he wrote down a little mnemonic device to help him remember the revelation he had had in a dream. And he wrote on a piece of paper, THIO, and then under that he wrote WECICCT. Well, his wife got up, he'd already gone to work early, and she's fixing things up in the bedroom and tidying up. She sees that piece of paper, and she was very upset all day because she thought maybe THIO meant the honeymoon is over. That'd be a terrible note to get, you know. You don't want that ever to happen. So he got home and she was waiting at the door. Are you trying to tell me that our love is gone too? And he said, oh, no, honey, listen. That means today has its opportunities. THIO. Today has its opportunities. And she said, what about the rest? WECICCT. When everything changes, I can change too. So whatever it takes to remind you that today does have its opportunities. Oh, things won't be the same, I suppose. I'm learning to drive again. So much fun for my husband. But he's very patient. He's a very patient person. And he allows for little changes to happen. Little... What did you say? Oh, yes, he's right about that, because I tend to go slower and slower and slower till he'll lean forward and say, honey, there's quite a line behind us. So today has its opportunities, and our dear Russ has had to have that in mind throughout these, how many years is it now? 39, 40? But who's counting? THIO doesn't mean the honeymoon is over. It means today has its opportunities. I wrote this in 22. Those garments of the past cannot be sewn up like before. The patches of new fabric tear away. Old vessels that once held your life can't hold it anymore. New wineskins are the order of the day. The instant you knew something or somebody had to give and realized that somebody was you, you left the water jug beside the well and turned to live a fuller way as you were called to do. Your thoughts are not the same about the things that once seemed real. To keep on as you had would just be strange. Your world is now transforming by the way you've come to feel. Everything changes with one gracious change. So as we invite our musicians to return to us, and we hold the thought that the times they are a-changin'. I made our youngest play this on guitar when we were in front of the yard of St. Largo City Hall, when folks were trying to fire Steve Stanton for becoming Susan Stanton. And he said, what do you want me to play? I said, play The Times They Are Changin'. And so as we gear up for the close of our service, I just got to read these lyrics. They're better than a poem. Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown. And accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone if your time to you is worth saving, and you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are changing. Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes open. The chance won't come again, and don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin, and there's no telling who that it's naming. For the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changin'. Come, senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall, for he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. The battle outside, ragin', will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changin'. Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand, for the times they are changing. The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast, the slow one now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The ardor is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are changing. But this won't change. You'll still be a child of God. God will still be true. Life will still be sweet, and we will still be together. God bless you. Let's take our gifts of love in our hands and know that God is in charge of every change, and it's always full of opportunities. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. And now let's sing as we share our love.
That I give in gratitude. My heart is open, my spirit is rejoicing, and I give in gratitude. I give my thanks to God. 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 I give my thanks to God.
Well done. Good, good. We thank you, God, for these, our gifts you've lovingly provided. And through your love, may everyone be lovingly multiplied. And now let's give thanks as we give it all to God. And so it is. Let's rise as we are able in body or spirit. Let's share our prayer for protection. I ask you to share this light over every nation in the world, for there are always chances for peace. There are always opportunities for resolution, always. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now let's share our love. If you're on your way, have a beautiful day. Don't forget to look for those opportunities for blessings and enjoy the changes. Let's sing.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us, let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive.